Welcome back to Straight from the Agent. I am Johnny B. Good, the flip-flop agent, joined by my man,
Connery Calkins.
So we have, 4 or 5 episodes out so far. So we felt that it was prudent for episode 5 to come in and talk about some of the comments that our listeners have given us. Some have been great. Some have been not so great. Some have been absolutely hilarious.
Some have been kind of mean.
Some have been downright offensive, but you know what? I'm here for it. I don't mind that at all. Because at least you're engaging.
Yeah.
At least our content is making you feel something.
Right.
Even if it is disdain and fury, I guess. So why don't you hit us with it? What do we got for some of the first comments? And we've been putting out, so if you're wondering where these comments are coming from, we have our standard videos that are between 20 and 30 minutes long, right? But then we pull a lot of shorts out of that.
Yeah.
So we're pulling a lot of shorts out, and the shorts are where we're getting a lot of our comments, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, hit me with the first one. What do you got?
First one.
These are in no particular order.
No particular order.
Okay, perfect.
Something a realtor would say in reference to, or actually they said Real-a-tor would say.
Realtor. So back from like episode 1.
Yeah.
It just drives me insane. And I say it more so because I try to gaslight my peers a little bit. So I'll be like, yeah, we're a bunch of crazy realtors.
Yeah.
And everybody gives me the side eye. But you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care that much, but it is a little infuriating when the messaging is supposed to be on point.
Yeah.
And everybody's over here mispronouncing our name.
Yeah.
Like when people call it McDonald's.
I get it with the public.
Sure.
Totally get it.
Sure.
But when you're in the industry,
correct. Yeah.
It's like if I was a plumber and then I walk up and I'm like, oh, I'm your plumer. No, it's
I have relatives that are plumbers. I'm going to call them plumers from here on out. That is perfect.
So yeah, I don't mind at all when the public screws it up because they have no idea.
No.
But when you're in the industry, just be competent.
Yeah.
That's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down with agents being competent.
Yeah, competency, kind of a big issue, especially when you're dealing with transactions like what we deal with on the daily.
Yep.
But tomato. So what else do we got? I know we got some other good ones in here.
So this episode we were talking about, or maybe it was just this section of an episode. It was how your first home is not your forever home.
Sure.
Most of the time.
Sure.
These conversations always exclude places like New York, Massachusetts, California, because starter 2-bed, 2-bath homes are $300K plus. So not necessarily in Michigan too. We run into that same problem. I've got clients right now looking for their first home.
Yeah.
And they're in about like the 250, 275 range.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's the entire state, but you and I were talking about this a few minutes ago off air, but especially in Genesee County,
right?
Those homes are flying off the market. Opening weekend, multiple offers, over asking.
Yep.
And it's a lot of the offers are cash that are coming in.
Right.
My thought process is that you have your typical starter home,
sure.
right? Then kind of the evolution of the buyers, they start with a starter home, they move on to a bigger home, raise their family once they have more kids, and then they want to downsize, but they're going right back to the starter home.
Right.
They've had 40 years of making money and having cash in the bank to beat out these first-time home buyers.
Well, and they're selling their homes and they're garnering a large amount of equity with how we've seen home prices skyrocket in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're exactly right. And that's a conversation that you and I have had as well as you're preparing and thinking about starting a family. You know, I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, where the hell am I going to put these kids? You know, and I have no intention of booting my children out of the house when they turn 18 and say, figure it out. You know, that's the way I was raised. And I fully intend on not doing that to my children.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, man, you guys need to have $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in the bank when you're ready to buy a home so we can actually put you in something.
Yeah.
And again, who knows what the real estate market's going to look like in 10 years when my kids are even ready to do that. You know, could be an apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah.
We could be living in Fallout.
That'd be kind of cool.
But at the end, I just finished watching both seasons. Great show on Prime.
Don't spoil it.
I won't
halfway through season 2.
It's great. It's great. But you just don't ever know, right? And so if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yep.
I hate to use those types of cliches, but it really is the truth.
Yeah.
It's not like even when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, and my wife and I, even before we got married, we were looking for a house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we probably had, I don't know, 15 grand,
Yeah.
20 grand saved up
Mm-hmm.
to be able to buy the house. We were able to get a conventional loan, and we built back in 05.
Yeah.
And we're still in that exact same house.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in that situation that if we needed to downsize, I'd sell my house. I mean, we have almost $300,000 worth of equity in our house right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd be able to go in there and kind of play bully ball a little bit.
Yep.
If I want to put an offer in. Like, if I really want that house, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
You know, even if
But
I've got to pay
you're in
over.
the financial standing to do that. All these first-time home buyers
Sure.
aren't, unfortunately.
Right.
And it's just, it's hard. I feel like including these bigger states, which obviously the average price of living or the
Mhm.
cost of living is so much higher. The
Sure.
cost of buying homes
Sure.
is so much higher.
Sure.
But even in states like Michigan, it's
Right.
still hard just across the board for first-time
Well, and
buyers.
affordability is going to be better in the Midwest.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just the way it works.
Mhm.
You know, you look at the coastal areas, East Coast, West Coast. Yeah, you're going to be paying 5-6 times more than what you would pay here for an equivalent home.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's just the way it is.
Exactly.
But we have seen that equity creep up and those home values continue to press up.
Mhm.
And it's like, I don't know, man. The
Yeah.
struggle is real.
Just
I get it.
don't
We
go
live
in-
it every day.
Don't go in lowballing. Especially with homes that are
Yeah.
hitting the market opening weekend, you have
Mhm.
to go over asking,
Yeah.
or at least at asking. I had another different client who was kind of like, oh, do we really need to offer over asking? Yes, you do. I mean, we ended up getting beat out again by cash,
Right.
but it was this like, if they wouldn't have offered over asking, they wouldn't have even been in the running.
Right. Yeah. You're not even in the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for your offer. I have 6 offers that are better.
Yeah.
You know,
It's tough.
and I hope that the market settles and we find an equilibrium
Mhm.
to get away from these multiple offer situations with escalation clauses and appraisal gaps.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And we just have to play to the strengths of the market.
Yep.
And if that's what it takes for the buyers, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got?
We got, let's see here.
Please, we're waiting on
I-
bated
I-
breath.
I'm
He's
trying-
killing me
I'm
here.
I'm trying to recall what this was about. This is absolutely the blueprint that I used as well. I'm just thankful to have a home these days. It was probably, I'm thinking, kind of what we were talking about, making
Right.
sure you have enough money
Right.
saved up.
Right.
You're using your first home as an investment.
Right.
Like me and my wife eventually would love to build like
Mhm.
you did.
Yep.
Want to kind of get out of we're not in a city, but get out of town and have some land and build
Sure.
a house because I don't like neighbors.
Sure. Sure.
My neighbors are awesome, but I just don't like having people right next to me.
Sure.
So go into, for first-time home buyers, go into this thinking this is not going to be my forever home.
Sure.
You don't need the perfect 3-bed, 2.5 bath on a full
Right.
finished basement with an updated kitchen and a 2.5 car attached garage.
See, that's exactly what I have. That's why I have never moved.
Exactly.
My first house, I turned it into the house that I'll just stay in forever.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right.
Mhm.
And like we talked about in that first episode, people used to move every 7 years. Now they move every 12.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with people buy in school districts they want to keep their kids in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's 100% of the issue,
Mhm.
but I know that for a lot of people, especially with where we are talking about hyper local,
Yeah.
Goodrich, Davison, Flushing, where we have our 3 offices,
Mhm.
people get in there, whether they have young kids or they're starting a family or newly married, whatever that is,
Yeah.
they get in there and they're going to stick around so that their kids can maintain, I guess, a level of consistency and normalcy through their
Yeah.
childhood.
Exactly.
You know, you're going to the elementary and then the middle schools and then the junior highs and then the high schools,
Mhm.
you know, and you're building those relationships and those friendships and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're seeing people stick around a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it
That's
was
probably why it went to 12 years.
I mean, it's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
I don't know all the datum points and how they broke all that down,
Mhm.
but to me, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it, it's, 12 years, kids are in school for 12 years. Okay.
Right,
Tomato, tomato. But I do remember having friends in school where like mom and dad uprooted them in like 10th grade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, Billy's leaving.
Right.
Where's he going?
Yeah.
That's just how the world works.
And
Job
and
relocations.
Per your situation, yeah. I mean, people get new jobs all the time. They get promotions. They get fired.
Yeah.
There was a divorce, death in
Right.
the family. Everything Life happens.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many factors. It's all just life, and it's all based on the situation.
Yeah.
It's so situational.
It depends.
It depends. That's absolutely our tagline for this podcast.
It really is.
It depends.
All right. Next comment. Gen X here. I don't even know what Gen X is.
Gen X is the age group above me.
Oh, okay. Bought a home.
Not super old, just a little old.
Okay, so not super old.
Shut up. Such an asshole.
Bought at 25. 20 years later, that starter home has become our thank God we have a home, forever home. X marks the spot. The boomers saw their cash. Why not take all their kids' money too? Now 0 generations can build wealth.
So somebody's bagging on the boomers a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody's bagging on the You know what? I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it because they went out and the boomers went out and they were able to buy a house or build a house for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on some land. And now that house today,
Worth
if they're still in it,
$500,000.
it's worth $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they're selling, they're downsizing with the cash equity that they have, beating out all the first time home buyers. And then, they're just hoarding that cash.
Yeah. It's the game.
It's the game.
Because everyone that's complaining about it right now, as long as they make smart financial decisions, will be in that spot.
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be, barring some global economic collapse.
Right.
And it's impossible to predict the future. It's impossible to predict the future. Yeah. But the opportunities that we've seen of people being able to move frequently and just bebop between house and house and house and house and house, those days kind of seem like they're in the past.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
People are getting in houses and they're locking in, man.
They're staying. Like, Goodrich is a great example.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of inventory in Goodrich ever.
Right.
It's just people come here and they stay here.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about market churn. We talk about, what is the burn rate in these different communities, because every community is different. When I look at burn rates, I like to look at it based on school district.
Yeah.
So a certain school district, you might have, in Davison, for example, roughly our burn rate is somewhere between like 50 and 70 homes a month.
Okay.
Which is pretty high.
Yeah.
In the entirety of the Davison Community School District, you're going to see 50 to 70 homes, maybe a little bit less. It depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
A lot of factors play into it. But on average, between 50 and 70 homes moving.
Wow.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things moving. And that number might be high. I might be looking at a larger contingent there.
Okay.
But whatever that is, when you look at that burn rate, Goodrich is probably only a fraction of that.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's pretty low.
You're probably looking at, 20 or less per month that are moving in that entire district.
Yeah.
Per se. So it just depends.
And it could change.
And when it's time to move, and this is why when I consult with buyers or sellers who are looking to buy, you got to have a plan in place. Like the days of old, like, I got a wild hair up my ass, I'm going to go buy a house today.
Yeah. No, you need to plan, prepare, talk to a Realtor.
There it is. Yeah.
And you can't just, granted, I've had clients who have done very well and they could just buy a house whenever they want. And it happens. But again,
but that's good financial planning.
Yes.
Yeah. So much of it is good financial planning.
Yeah. Maybe they weren't planning specifically to buy a house at this time of this year.
Yeah.
But they've made the choices in the past that have led them to have that freedom to do it.
Yep. Exactly. All right. What else do we got?
What else? The 20-somethings are happy and able to pay rent, which, yes, some of them are. I personally am not, because if I'm paying $1,700 a month in rent, I could be paying $1,700 a month towards my mortgage and building equity in my home and working on that investment. So when I sell that home, I can use those funds to purchase a more expensive, bigger home.
Well, and let's also set the stage here. We're not bagging on anybody that pays rent.
No, not at all.
If the alternative is homeless or living out of your car versus paying rent,
pay rent.
Do what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
Of course. We're just saying that if you want to be set upon that path of home ownership, try to find a reasonable apartment where you can still save money.
Yeah.
Try to, you have to defer some of the niceties. Maybe you don't get to take the vacation twice a year, things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of home ownership comes down to you have to be disciplined. That's just the nature of the business. It's not like, again, oh, I'm going to go buy a house today.
Yeah.
And you and I, we both get a lot of those calls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, I want to buy a house, 0 down. Okay. How's your credit? Oh, 580. It's like, okay.
Hey, call my friend Johnny Be Good.
We can have that conversation. I
Yep.
will tutor you towards being able to buy a home.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, yeah, you've got to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
You've got to make some sacrifices to be able to put yourself in the position to be able to buy a home.
I completely agree.
It's an opportunity, not a right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my approach. I mean, not trying to come off like a hard ass by any means.
Yeah. If you have to rent.
Yeah, of course. I rented
Yeah.
in multiple apartment complexes
Mhm.
between the time I moved out of my parents' house and the time that Jessica and I were able to buy a home.
Yeah. It's just what you have
And
to do.
again, I'm old as shit.
Yeah, you are.
So, I mean, shut up. Talking 23, 24 years ago,
Mhm.
you know, I was paying $365 a month for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. You know,
But now, like, times are changing now. Like, I feel like parents are more apt to let their kids stay
Mhm.
home longer.
Yeah.
Like, in full transparency, me and my wife just bought our house last year. Yeah, last year.
Mhm.
And I was 28.
Yeah.
So I lived at home for 10 years.
Yep.
After high school.
Right.
But again, working consistently.
right.
Like, that's all that I do is work. You
Right.
know what I mean? I wasn't out
Right.
just dilly-daddling and
right.
playing around.
Yeah.
Like, that was the rule. Like, hey, as long as you're working, you can stay here as long as you need to
Yeah.
save up money.
Yes.
And obviously with my whole career change, all that sort of stuff, it took a little bit longer jumping into real estate where it's a
Mhm.
commission-only career, but obviously it worked out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
more
exactly.
parents are apt to do that nowadays than they were when you were growing up.
Totally. And that's the same approach I'll take with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as long as you're not sitting around on your ass all day long, smoking weed or whatever it is that you're going to do when you're
Yeah.
in your 20s, you know, be a contributing member of society. You can come work with dad.
Right, yeah.
We'll toss you into the real estate game because I can put your ass to work. I guarantee you that.
That would be fun. I
So-
would like to. Eventually, my future kids, they can do whatever they want. But if
Yeah,
they
of
would
course.
want to get into real estate, that'd be awesome. That'd be fun.
It would be a lot of fun for sure.
That'd be-
I already have them help me out with postcards. So
Right.
why not? You guys are only about a half step removed from being in the industry anyway.
Exactly.
So let's go all in. All right. What else you got?
Let's see here. I don't even want to hear anyone who makes 6 figures income talking about this issue. It's probably just affordability. I'm not sure if they're talking about agents or if they're
No, I
talking
think they
about-
were talking about commissions.
Oh, okay.
So I think that comment was directed at us,
Okay.
but it's like, listen, at the end of the day, and I love when you said this in one of our previous episodes, every day you and I wake up unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go out there and we got to hustle and we got to eat what we kill.
Yep.
And
So what's fun about it?
well, it is what's fun about it. And the thing is, one of the problems I have with our industry as a whole is a lot of agents like to go out and be like, oh my God, I did this and I did that. And look how many properties I closed.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't about us. Without the buyers or the sellers, we
Yeah.
wouldn't make any money.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, you know, it's our job to get you to the finish line.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that you know how we're going to navigate the process and we want to set you up for success.
Exactly.
And I think anybody that does that should be compensated.
Anybody who works hard
Mhm.
deserves the compensation. Now, granted, our industry is very different. Like, teachers work extremely hard and they don't get nearly as compensated
Sure.
as they should. But in the business world, like, we're essentially self-employed. We're 1099 contractors. We
Mhm.
just hold our license under a licensed brokerage.
Sure.
But our broker doesn't pay us anything.
No.
We don't get any sort of benefits.
I spend
paid.
60 hours in the office
Mhm.
and I don't close a single sale. Thanks. See you later.
Exactly. And
And I still have to pay my desk fees. I still got to pay.
it's essentially
the
the same
things.
thing as owning a brick and mortar business, but different.
Sure.
Because compared to paying rent, we're paying office fees.
Right.
Compared to paying like electrical for the building,
Sure.
we're paying for the MLS dues. So it's the same thing in just a different lens.
Yes.
But
It's like diet entrepreneurship is what it is.
Yeah.
We don't have all the stress of running the business,
Mhm.
but we still get to utilize our motivations and efforts to reap the benefits
Yeah.
of that.
And there's so many different avenues you can go on. You can go down the brokerage route.
Right.
You could start a team where you are paying hourly employees
Mhm.
to show houses, to be your assistant, to be a transaction
course.
coordinator.
Yep.
But if I never hate on an agent for making money, because they are out there, just like I don't hate on the owner of whatever gym for making money,
right?
Because they are starting a business from nothing,
right?
Like, I had no experience with real estate. You had no experience with real estate, and we just figured it out.
That's right. All day long. All right, what do we got as we finish up here?
This is my favorite comment. Vampires.
Okay. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not a vampire.
I don't think I am either. But on that topic, what is your favorite vampire movie?
Well, as you've so clearly stated multiple times this episode, I'm old. So I'm not going back to like the 60s and 70s with my movie, but I'm going to go back to one from my formative years, which was Blade with Wesley Snipes.
Okay.
It was fantastic.
Are you talking about the original Blade or any of like the...
No, the OG.
Okay.
The original Blade.
Okay.
Didn't know what I was walking into. Wasn't super familiar with comic books. But I'm like, this looks pretty dope.
Right.
Let's go check it out. Loved it.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it. The blood rave scene in the beginning.
Yep.
Oh my God. I think that's where I started falling in love with electronic music.
Okay.
Like every bit of that film was perfect.
Right.
And now Ryan Reynolds wants to have a final Blade movie for Wesley Snipes.
That's cool.
Which I think, which I would be first in line for.
Oh, 100%.
First in line for. So how about you? What's your favorite vampire movie? Honorable mention, 30 Days a Night.
That was going to be mine.
So great.
As you know, I'm a huge horror movie buff. I love horror movies.
Yeah.
It's probably because I'm mentally unwell. But
I'll co-sign that. Me too. Why can't we both be mentally unwell?
Calm me down. Like, I love at night just watching a scary movie. If I'm working from home,
crazy work.
Throw a horror
That's crazy work.
Like my wife, when she's working from home too, I'll be on the couch, she'll be in the office, and she's like, "What are you watching?" It's just screaming coming out of the TV. I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I'll turn it off." But
I'll mute this part.
I think 30 Days a Night is definitely my favorite.
Okay.
Just the scenery in it is fantastic. Being in Alaska, I believe it is. Like, and it's cool
because they're above the Arctic Circle.
Yep.
So that's why it's 30 Days of Night. Yeah, great. That was Josh Hartnett, wasn't it? Yeah, great film.
The sequel, not as good.
No.
It had there was potential for it to be cool.
Yeah.
Very cheesy, very corny, not my cup of tea. I think an honorable mention is that new Abigail movie.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
Had some cool twists in it, but we could talk about horror movies all day.
All day long.
Maybe we'll start a podcast about that.
Why not? I have all the time in the world for editing podcasts. Why worry about buying and selling real estate? Just become a professional podcaster.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that was good. So keep those comments coming. Keep giving us shit. That's what you want to do.
Keep giving us vague one-word comments that we just have to kind of interpret.
Yes. So I think we'll do a comment episode, every 3-4 episodes.
I think that's good.
And we'll see. You guys keep giving us some good comments. Give us stuff to work with here. We'll keep at it. Otherwise, we'll keep on cranking. So we'll be back next week with our questions from a hat.
Yes, sir.
You'll do the buyers. I'll do the sellers. We'll discuss it, and we're off and running to the races.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. Well, for this episode of Straight from the Agent podcast, I'm Johnny B. Good, the flip-flop agent, joined by my man,
Connery Calkins.
We will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.